Being 5:15, I'd like to call the July 1st Board of Public Works meeting to order. Stand for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call has been taken. Look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Ritchie, seconded by Mr. Dorsey to adopt the agenda. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public input. Seeing none. I'd look for a motion for the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey, seconded by Mr. Ritchie to approve the June 3rd, 2024 meeting minutes. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Wastewater treatment plan updates. See no Ben, so Robert, you must have them?
Yep, I'm filling in for him. Did everybody have a chance to read through them? Anybody have any questions up front? All right, I'll go over, sum up what Ben wrote down. Biggest thing right now is the digester coating has started up. They have the dome off of it. They brought in the coating company today, and they're gonna start chiseling all the big pieces that they can get off to try to slim down the time it takes to do all the sandblast work to get it off of the surface. They'll continue with that through Wednesday, and then on the 8th they plan on coming in, starting with the wet blasting. They'll pretty much have all their scaffolding in place that they need, because they have the false floor in there already, built to level everything off so they can just move around and keep blasting at it. Once that's done, the inspectors will be in, not only from the private firm that's doing all the coating inspections, but also Donahue that will be on site to do the inspecting as well, to make sure that the surface is ready to go. So that'll be going on over the next couple weeks down there. Then he kind of talked about how, with the wet year we've been having, seen a lot of increases in the amount of influent that's been coming in. A lot of these heavy rain events, they go well over the million mark, but as of now, they haven't violated any of the permit levels, so that's a good thing. We're also accepting 70,000 gallons a day from a plant up in, I believe it's Bear Creek, and they ran into issues. They always apply on the field, and everybody knows how wet it is. They're no longer able to do that until they run into a good 2-week dry spell, which who knows when that'll happen. We're more than able to take on the 70,000 a day without affecting anything down there in the process, and it's bringing extra income into the plant. Also, what else is around? Oh yeah, the influent pump switch out went really well. They were able to install the 2 pumps, and like Ben said, now they don't have to worry about these rain events coming and worrying about a pump failure and causing major issues. So it's nice to have those in place and running well. Does Does anybody have any questions? I'll pretty much sum it up then.
No further questions from Mr. Gursky? All right, thanks, Robert.
Yep.
Next, we'll move on to approve and recommend to council new street light locations.
I have two locations, that have been on the back burner for quite a while. And I sat down with, Mike from NLU and we kind of went over these locations again. Just making sure that, one, they were needed, and two, that they had the availability to put them there. You know, that they had the power supply they needed in the area, and it wouldn't cause a lot of construction time to put up these poles. And the one was on the corner of High and Industrial Loop. It's been a dark corner for a very long time, and I've received numerous calls on this corner, wanting additional lighting down in that area. And also with talking with Ben, just having the extra light down there, kind of lighting up our lift station. That way people aren't down there in the middle of the night doing anything to any of those panels that we have. So that's the one location. The other is on the end of Douglas Street, the East Douglas. Like I said in the memo, they currently have a small A arm going out towards their substation there, and they had that in place for quite a while. Just they wanted that area lit up. They said it would be easy enough to provide an A-arm, swing it the other way, maybe have more length on it, so it's over the street more, providing lighting on that east end of Douglas. And I think it's a good thing with, especially with the new houses going up in that area as well. There is one light that's somewhat close. It's kind of by the, there we go. It's right in this area, I believe, is where the last light on that street is. And this one has a short A-arm going this way towards the substation, and they would swing it, bring it out towards center more. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Any further questions for Mr. Gursky on them lights? If none, I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the two new street light locations.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Barrington, second by Mr. Herder, to approve and recommend to council new street light locations. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Next, discussion on hiring AECOM to do site investigation on Pearl Street.
Okay, a while back, I mentioned how we received some letters from the DNR indicating that we are the responsible party for three locations in the downtown area that have tested higher than DNR standard limits for hazardous material. Most of it being petroleum related. If you could switch to that slide, Chad. So the one area was up on, oh, I'll get it. Oh, Mini Park go. Oh, there we go. So one of them was on Mini Park at these two blue circles. tested higher than allowable limits. And then on Pearl Street at this blue dot location and this blue dot location. So what this means is the City of New London is the responsible party for cleaning up and or monitoring these sites until case closure. Now, case closure can come in many ways. A lot of them were talked over when I met with the DNR last Thursday, but I'll leave that more for the professionals to kind of identify when we get to that point, and I'll read through their documentation. As of now, the main focus and in conversation with the DNR was these two sites here, being that they haven't been reconstructed yet. And at this location, there is no indication that 4 tanks that are shown to be buried in here were ever removed. In this location, they have 1 tank that they have documentation that there was a UST or underground storage tank in this location, and no documentation of it ever being removed. So when they come in and remove all this roadway, AECOM, which I'd like to add, they were, the geologist was nice enough to be on the call with me, with the DNR, just so we could go over steps, because I had a lot of questions as far as once we open up this roadway, you know, what's the next step? If we run into tanks, what's the next step? If we don't, what's the next step? Being that we had all these indications that there is contaminated soil down there. So what will happen is AECOM's gonna put a proposal together, being that they're on site anyways doing all the work for WSDOT on this project, that I could not include this in the project because it's like its own separate entity. Because once this project's all said and done, then this will still remain until case closure. So they couldn't enroll it into the contract, so therefore we need a contract through them. So what they're gonna do is put a proposal together that will list all the steps that it'll take, from what the conversation we had with the DNR. Our best case scenario is, 1, we dig down, the tanks are no longer there, we find the contamination level, we find at the extent where it dissipates, we remove it. They take samples around that area, supply all that documentation to the DNR, and then there's a shorter realm where you can reach that case closure without going into a lot of extra testing. If the tanks are there, they have to be removed by a qualified contractor in tank removal. AECOM is certified in making sure they were taken out correctly, and whatever they have to do once they're out of the ground for that portion of it. So that will be in the proposal as well. The reason why I'm bringing this whole discussion to you right now is the short timeline we have to establish this contract and bring in a contractor to start all the work. So Um, once they get the proposal together and get it to me, it might be, they're hoping to have it in time for council. So we'd look at having a special board of public works to go over the whole thing and then to get it approved. But he wasn't for sure that he would get it to me in time. So if that doesn't happen, then we'll have to go another route. I don't know, Chad, if we'd look at having a double up somewhere down the line.
Ideally, like you were talking about, if they can get to us by the 16th, we could just do it, you know, both of them on the 16th. Otherwise, you'd have to have a special back-to-back Board of Public Works council meeting somewhere between the 16th and 20th.
Don't we have one on
Don't
the
we have one on the
31st?
31st at 4 o'clock?
First, yes.
That's right. There is a special one on the 31st.
Okay.
So we have to do a Board of Public Works ahead of that. But Jay Bassett's got a special one on the 31st.
Okay.
You'd have to make it later. I will not make it for something earlier than 4 o'clock.
So ideally the 16th, but I guess our fallback is the 31st.
Okay. So that's pretty much what, I'm bringing this all up now to kind of highlight what we're going through right now. But as soon as that section of road is taken out, this has to take place, so it doesn't hold back any part of the actual construction aspect of the roadway. Because with everything we're going through with the portion of the project we're on right now, I don't want it to fall back in our lap saying that we held up the show on any portion of it and they look for any type of reimbursement for that. Does anybody have any question with these? Yes, sir.
Are we gonna be responsible for all of the gas stations? Because when we start tearing up Pearl Street, we're gonna hit at least 2 more.
We are only responsible for the areas that were tested that are within the right of way and within the right of way and time of placement of the tanks. So if there's other areas that are to be determined as hazardous and are defined on here, then those responsible party letters already went out to other property owners.
He's talking about.
He's talking about south.
Oh,
South Pearl.
when we do South Pearl,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother,
To be determined.
yes.
What was by site 12 and 13 that's contaminated? I don't even remember gas station or not, car lots being in there.
Where's that one actually
That
located?
right there is Coils.
Yeah, that's coils, but 12 and 13.
Freiberger's garage used to be there.
Freiberg, yeah,
Did they ever have gas pumps out front?
no, I don't ever remember a gas station being there. That's why I said there was a Voltz's car dealership was in there and stuff. I don't ever remember any gas.
It was, they did investigating whenever there was any car dealership or anything like that, because, you know, if they did oil changes.
And that Freiberger's did oil changes.
And that's why you see that this tested, good, it passed the test. They did a core there and and here they tested, you know, all these spots with the yellow in the center were tested and came back negative or below tolerable level.
Yeah, cause you would have had Ford garage down there too.
Freiberger's put all their oil in the river anyway, so it made no difference.
They just dumped that in the Embarrass.
So we'd have no way to go back on them.
No.
I mean, property owner.
No, if you read through the Wisconsin statute, the way it's worded, there's no way to go back unless, let's say, the property was foreclosed on and it was in really bad shape and the city wanted to do something with it, but it was found that it was a contaminated site. then the state offers grants and funding to clean up sites like that and allow you that ability to clean the site, put up something, nice and try to improve the area. So they offer grants for that type of scenario, but if you were handed the land and here you go, you have what you get, and not knowing what was there or what's underneath there, then you're on the hook for it.
And supposedly those tanks are in the right of way.
Yes,
There could be a
Got
large,
up the road to put tanks in at one point in time.
Back in the day. Supposedly.
yeah, that was before, this was, I think that data came from the 30s or 40s.
Oh, they didn't have.
Yeah.
They had gravel.
or it probably was one lane,
They're pretty confident that these would be smaller areas, and more than likely be able to excavate them, once they're opened up. I know for sure this one, I don't think extends even past this red area because, we did a sanitary lateral last year right here, and we ran into no staining, no smell, no contamination that we could see.
That site there, I bet you're not gonna have any issues with that site. Cause there was never anything there.
But
the-
they have on record that, I mean, it
They said
tested
there's-
positive, that's why you have the blue circle there, that there is contaminants above the level. It's just they don't know if
They are.
the tank still remains and how far it is contaminated to extents.
The other question, Robert, I mean, we're hiring potentially AECom to help us with the consultation of it. The actual removals, would that go on our current contractor? Can they, or do we have to get a separate contract?
We're trying to, I'm trying to work with AECom to do a 2 scenario. If there's no tanks in place, then MCC can still work under the state contract and do all the excavating, because all of that is still in the contract. All items for removal, excavating, all that stuff is in that contract, and this DOT is fine with taking that on. But if there's tanks in place, then you have to bring in that other contractor. And so he's putting that proposal together to show that as well, as far as doing the excavating with the certified company.
would that have to go like on a quick bid thing, or how would that work?
Well, this proposal is gonna have everything within, and they wanna take that, the only way AECom can do it is attach a change order to our current contract that we have with them for the landfill. So in that proposal to do the work, we'll have estimate of what it'll cost to excavate and all that with the contractor that they usually use for tank removals.
So would they be subcontracting through AECom then? Or-
Yes.
Okay, so like John's point, do we have to get another contract with this third party contractor, or we're just subcontracting through AECom?
No, the way I understood it is everything would be through AECom, through this change order to the contract we have with them.
Got it.
I'll have more of an idea when I get the rough draft from them.
That could take time if we had to put bids out and put a sealed date and read them and then get it all approved and.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? So we're not looking for a motion here, correct?
Nope.
Just discussion, so we're got it out there and
Up to
everybody knows.
speed.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Robert. Director's report.
Okay, I have, two service anniversaries, Ben Groyle, lead wastewater operator, 24 years of service today. And Luke Hammonds, street superintendent, 9 years of service on July 28th. And now for the construction. Downtown construction, so we hope to have, there's still hope to have the intersection open by noon on the 3rd. Currently, we were waiting on light poles, signals, arms, but the poles and arms came in at 1 o'clock today. However, we did not receive the bases. So they're going to, they actually left the site, they were gonna run and get different bases that they would place and work through the rain tomorrow to try to install the poles. Because with those, they all have the ones that are left all have the trombone arm on them. And they have to place the pole and then put the arm on while the pole is placed. So they get their angles right, and they do the whole setup once the pole is in place. So they'd like to do that, at least get those placed and set up. And at a later point, they would have to come in, pull the post up, you know, do all the, you said there's like 6 different wires they'll have to undo, lift the post up, replace the base, put it back down, rewire. The other thing that has not come in are the luminaires, which are pretty standard luminaires for an intersection. No word on when they will be in, but that's something they can place even under traffic because it takes less than 15-20 minutes to install those. The intersection was painted today. So all the directional markers, all the striping for center line and lane divisions are all placed. The work on the sidewalk is still ongoing, but at a slow pace. They were in there again today. They did some more framing in this first block section, framing or forming in the second block section. Then they did some forming of the curb and gutter at the bump out area, but not completed. So hopefully once we get back going on Monday, I know for sure they were hoping to pour tomorrow, but judging by the forecast, I don't see that happening. And Wednesday, they have a short window because of restrictions for the holiday. I talked it over with ISG and WSDOT that I would allow going over the noon cutoff time if they had all the pouring done, they had it taped off, and that they're willing to come back and open it up later that afternoon to foot traffic. But if they weren't able to accomplish that second step of coming back and opening it up to foot traffic for the holiday, then they weren't able to pour on Wednesday. Which would push them to Monday, and hopefully by then they would hit it hard, I hope. I don't know, it's been quite the process, let's put it that way. On House and Alcan, I got a email from WSDOT that the original PS&E date of August 1st which is when everything, plans and everything has to be submitted to the state for their final review, has now been pushed back till November 1st. And that the November let date for bidding has now changed to probably March. This doesn't have a big consequence as far as how everything lines up, because it's still set for 25 construction, which it was to begin with. And it still gives us the opportunity, because they're resurfacing that section of 54 next year. And it still gives that contractor the ability to bid on this and combine the two. You know, if the contractor's already paving 54, they have still have the time frame that if they want to bid on this project, they can. So it shouldn't hurt us in any way. Oshkosh Streets, the preliminary plans are almost complete. We've been tweaking it a little bit. When they're complete, I'll be bringing them in front of the board. There's areas of narrowing and widening that we're trying to keep the road more streamlined without all these widenings. So once those are complete, I'll be bringing them here. And then lastly, I had a conversation with Outagamie County on the Mill and Beacon intersection. And we're looking at sometime after the holiday. He hasn't given me a firm date of when they'll be switching that intersection to a full three-way stop. But when they do, they plan on putting up an informational sign that'll be on Beacon that'll indicate traffic pattern changes, flagging the signs so they know that it's no longer right turn, no stop, doing everything they can to help point it out to people. And as soon as I get a date, I'll be pushing it out on social media and the website to try to get the word out as much as possible. That's pretty much all I have. Does anybody have any questions on any of the construction going on?
What's going on by longevity there, the sump pump?
As soon as they shut down that intersection, we're gonna work on that, get it tied in. Because even if we get the grant in 27, it's a long time to keep fighting that. So that's our plan. As soon as that intersection is shut down, there'll be a lot less traffic there. We can take and cut out what we need to. See what I have for a base problem there with all that moisture. I think once the moisture goes away, a lot of the base problem will go away. But yeah, we'd like to somehow tie that in and get it off the street. The inlet's right there.
It shouldn't be that, I mean, shouldn't
No.
be.
Robert, just go back to House Road a little bit. You indicated, I don't think the rest of the board knows, DOT construction for Highway 54 plans for 2025.
They're starting right at, well, it's right after County S. And they're resurfacing. I don't know the extent. I don't know if it's all the way to Shiocton or not.
Pretty close, I think. Yep.
Okay. But that is more or less a mill and overlay from what I heard.
So that'll be on construction next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing to do with that going down the two lanes there by Quick Trip?
Nope,
Correct.
that's a
Not
26.
different.
separate.
Okay.
Yeah, then it'll be from that point to Genie Street. That'll be the next phase of that as well. But I did confirm that there's a stop construction for the NFL draft. They won't be doing any construction for the NFL draft for that. Because hopefully, you know, when they have this NFL draft, people are coming to Rawhide to check out the Star Museum. So we're anticipating and hoping that we can piggyback and try to get people for tourism wise to come here and visit that new museum at Rawhide.
Any questions for Mr. Gursky? All right, thanks, Robert. Future agenda items. So we've always had the,
Oh, I was gonna bring that up too. I missed it. I am working on the citywide, garbage collection, survey. I hope to have it here at the next board meeting. So those are the two things I'm sure.
Anybody else comes with anything else, just let us know. Next Board of Public Works meeting is August 5th at 5:15. And we won't have, I mean, unless we have to have one, special one.
Correct.
You're gonna put the park and rec and public works together in August for the national night out that's on Tuesday.
Bob, you have a problem with that?
Sure. Oh, that's fine. Anytime you wanna double up, I'm good for that.
Everybody else go to that?
Well,
Did-
Robert, why don't you, or Bob, why don't you talk to Ginger just to confirm,
Yeah.
but that sounds like a good idea.
And see if you wanna go first, if, I don't know what the agendas are like, if,
You guys can coordinate that.
Ginger said there's looks like quite a bit for August.
Mhm.
That's what she told me today, so I'm thinking we probably would go last time. I'm not sure, but that's what she told me today.
To be determined.
Okay, I guess we have to piggyback them. Everybody's go to that. Just let us know. Nothing else? Looking for motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion. Adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Ritchie, second Mr. Dorsey to adjourn. Any further subjects? None, all in favor signify by saying